Hello everyone, we have a new update from Noteey 1.120 and it has a few new features and improvements to it that I think we should take a look at. There are a lot of bug fixes in this one too, so I want to make note of that. They are polishing things off and getting some of the bugs knocked out, which is always a good thing. Definitely don't want to have an application that's constantly buggy. So let's go ahead and walk through some of these new features and improvements, and yeah, let's see how they actually work in practice here. The first one is going to be their new experience when you're creating your connections to other objects and leveraging the connection lines on your cards. So if we go ahead and we just click over in the whiteboard area or the canvas here, and if I was to hover over the card that I have, you can see now that you get this blue dot on the side that you hover over. Before, every side used to actually show an actual dot on it. It used to be a little gray dot and then kind of a gray border around it. But now they've kind of cleaned it up to where you're only going to see the dot that is related to the side that you're hovering on. And this helps, makes it a little bit cleaner in one way, where you can just come in here, you can grab it, and then you can come in from this drag of an arrow from that card. You can create a new card, you can connect to existing card from here, you can create a new sticky note, you can do a new shape, you can do a new board, and you can actually just pin the arrow to the board right here. So if I was to just pin it here, you can see here, you can still move that arrow around, but it is pinned to this particular location. If I hover back over, I can come back up again, I can click a new card, let's go back, I can come here and I can connect to an existing card. We'll go ahead and put this card here so it's connected to itself. And if I come in here and let's go ahead and do this again and click another one. We did an existing card. Let's do a new sticky note we have here. We'll scroll up some, give ourselves some room. We'll do a new shape, and you can see it put a pretty large square on there. It's super big over there. We'll shrink that down a little. And we'll come over here and we'll pull out the arrow there and we'll create a new board. So we can actually do new boards on the actual board that we have here from this particular menu. So it did at the bottom there. I wonder if I can easily select that. Nope. You can see it's a little tricky here trying to get to the existing arrow. If I want to move this arrow from one side to the next, it does get a little bit trickier now that this blue dot kind of pops up and is so huge in the way. Like right now, I'm having a hard time trying to get to that particular arrow in the background. I need to move, see if I can move this one out of the way. Then I can get here and I can go ahead and attach it. But you can see there's one little concern here, is that getting to an existing arrow and trying to move that existing arrow and its point there to a different location on the object, it's going to be pretty tough because it's popping up this blue arrow before I can even click on the existing one. So yeah, it's really tricky to get in there. So one thing I guess for the Noteey team to look at and maybe enhance this experience a little bit better, if I want to move the arrow, how I can move that arrow a little bit better from here. So if I was to grab the arrow using the 4 arrow dots there, it moves the entire arrow. So yes, this is one way you can do it, but I don't think that is the best way it should be done. So let me take the other end and put that back. So just something to look at there for the Noteey team. Let's see. Yeah, hopefully they're watching. Now, next thing on the list to have is an enhanced basic card editing experience on Canvas is better. I think this is kind of hard to really show just because I can't show you what it was like before and then compare it to what it is now. But the editing of the card is pretty good. I've not really had any issues with editing the card on here. So basically, if you're not hovered or in focus on the actual card, you just kind of click on it and you can see that it focused in right here. So not really something I can really show as far as the enhanced experience there. The card list for the projects on the left sidebar now shows cards on current board instead of their current project. So if I click on these three lines with the three dots there, this shows the table of contents for the project. And in here it shows the boards, it'll show the cards, and it'll show any frames that you have on here. And the frames, if we take a look at this, let me put one frame on here. And we'll call this frame test. And you can see that frame pops in here. And if I click on another board in the project, you can see the frame goes away. So the frames have always been consistent in being related to the actual board, but the cards themselves were always shown, all the cards for the project, irrelevant of which board they were on, always showed down here. Now if you click on another board, you can see the cards actually disappear, so it only shows the cards related to the board, and that keeps it consistent with the frame. So I think that's a pretty good change that they've done here. They've also optimized the default card width when in a floating window. I don't think I've had too much issue with this here, and I don't use the floating window too much, but yeah, you can kind of see what it looks like here. It's kind of a little thin. It's a somewhat narrow type shape. It's not as wide as some might want it, but I think it works. So that kind of is what it is. I don't know if there's going to be an option ever um, to custom set the width to what you want. Don't think you really need to. You can always just come in here and easily resize it. So I think this actually is good enough here, what they got. And what do we else we have here? We have global preferences to show or hide the actual snap lines. So if we move a card or an object around, you can kind of see these red lines that get shown so that you can align and space things appropriately on the canvas. You can actually go into the global preferences here, and if you don't want those to show up, the visibility of snap lines on canvas, you can come in here and change this to invisible, and once you come back to the canvas, you can see that those are no longer there. Now you still get the snapping feature to where it will try to place it, you know, appropriately to another object next to it. So all is not lost when you're trying to align these things. Even without the snap lines on there, you still kind of get some snapping capabilities here to help you align things, even if you don't have those guidelines. They've also added quick support for adding things to the library. We go into the library here, and if we want to copy images in here, and you can do this with more than one image. So I'm going to go ahead and select, let me see, I got 5 images here. I'm just going to copy those to my clipboard. Then I'm going to come and click into Noteey just to get the focus here, and then I'm going to hit paste, and you can see that these images, these 5 images, just got pasted into the library. Nice, quick, and easy. I think that's pretty cool. If we, let me come in here, I'm going to delete these. Delete. And let's delete these out of the trash. And if I go back to the library, what I want to do is see if I can drag and drop as well. So here I got those same images. If I was to drop these on there, that does not work. So you can't drag and drop, but you can copy all of those images to the clipboard and then paste them in. So that's still good. One bug I want to note here is that you can see when I come back to this project and into this board, this card here, before I had it about this height so that I can see most, if not everything, in this card here. And you can see how when I go out of the card, come back, or out of the board and then come back, that this particular card, it snaps back to a default height here for some reason. If I was to come over here and I made it smaller and did the height, then I snapped, I went back out of it and then come back in. We can see that it keeps the width, but it doesn't keep the height. The height actually shrinks down. So I think we have another bug there, something I need to look at, but it seems to be a default. There's a default height setting that's getting triggered here for these cards. It'll be interesting to see if I do this card here, because I haven't seen it for any of the other objects like sticky notes. Like if I do a sticky note here and we made that longer, let's go ahead and do this one here to be a lot bigger over there as well. And if I make that one bigger so that all of these here are somewhat kind of tall, then we go out. Let's come back into that board and we can see that tall, tall, and still shrunk down the size. So it's only the cards. I haven't seen any of the other object types get shrunk down to a certain height. You can see the width here is still as wide as what I left it. So yeah, it looks like another bug that's happening here where there might be a default size or height setting that's happening here or getting triggered. All right, let's go ahead and check out any other options here. Quick add by pasting, project tag list now only shows the tags where there's a project. This one here is pretty cool. So let's go into projects. If we come over to the tags, I only see one tag here, and that's because I've only tagged one project with this tag, and it's called test. So if I was to come in here and let's go back to that again. Well, actually I need to come in here. Let's go into info and I will X that one to get rid of the tag. If I go into projects, we'll see now that we have no tags in here. So if I was to come back and then we show info, let's tag this again. And actually let's tag it with lab this time. We will see we got lab there, and if I come here, we have lab here as well. So this makes it a lot more efficient to where when you click on this tag option, it doesn't show you every tag that you have associated with cards as well as projects, because this option is mainly for filtering this particular view. So it really makes no sense to show any other tag unless the tag is associated with one of the projects that are in this list. And what else do we have there? Pasting, we got the tags, and we have the time formatting change from the 24-hour to the 12-hour. Actually, I'll show a video here that I recently did showing this particular behavior. Let me see, we got the change the time here for the now slash command. So this was one that really would help me out too. So if you do now, it will actually put in here the 12-hour time format instead of the 24-hour. And I'm seeing something that looks like a bug here. So if I come in here and I hit now, put now, you can see that it's putting 0, 0 here. So right now it happens to exactly be 12 p.m. in my time, and this is not formatted correctly here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here after a minute goes by. Let's see now that a minute has gone by. Yeah, this is not looking correct here. So there's a bug here with the time formatting here when it gets to say 12. And I wonder if this will also happen when it's say 12 a.m. as well here. So this would be pretty interesting. So this one has showed another bug for the Noteey team to kind of look at for this new feature. All right, and the last one we have on the list is adding support for importing the WP format of images. And I actually thought that this had worked before for me, where I could bring in the WebP format of images. But let's go ahead and let's drag one onto the canvas there. We can see that that works. And if I was to check out another one, let me see what that one is, and we can see that these actually add themselves to the board, and I can use them however I want to, similar to any other images that are out there. So that's going to be it for this video. Don't forget to take a look at the bug fixes that were out there. If you use Noteey and you've been having some issues, a lot of these here you can see are related to PDFs. So if you've been having a lot of different issues or bugs with PDFs, then just check out all these here and you might find that one of your issues were fixed. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you like the content on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until the next time, have a nice day.